my opinion, the initial conversation is easier because I can say, hey, listen, I'm not being satisfied. I need this or I need that, or I'm looking for this or I'm used to that, what we used to do and how it used to be. I need that spark. If you already go out and experience another person, now you have to go back and I'm assuming that you're telling them, not them finding out, right? Is, hey, I want to let you know.
Do that really be happening?
Sometimes.
There's two different ways.
Sometimes.
What you're saying is the difference is the beginning conversation is, or the end of conversation is, why didn't you tell me? And you're a liar. And then the telling them before is, well, it's your fault because you stayed after telling them you didn't want, you were feeling a certain way. And you can use that against them saying, this is why I cheated or this is why I did something. So that's why I said the beginning conversation is probably harder because having sex is easy.
What do you mean by harder? Like, so you're telling me that you find having that conversation as more difficult to have prior to the actual act of?
If you're trying to be honest about what's going on in a relationship and saying, hey, I want to make this work or I don't want to make this work, I think that's way harder than just cheating.
I disagree wholeheartedly, only because once you cheat, that conversation of actually cheating and telling the person, because when you cheat out of the lack of, you have to now tell your partner that they were lacking, and you also robbed your partner the ability to make that adjustment. So now you have to tell them, hey, look, I didn't speak up, because they say, hey, well, why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you just tell me you want a little bit more head? Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now you rob that person from the opportunity to actually do what you were searching for or craving or desire. When you rob that person from that ability to do so, it's a harder conversation to have because you have to look at that person in the face and say, you know what? I got fed up. I built it up inside of me and I just carried it out somewhere else. And, I never gave you a chance to fix that, especially if we're talking about marriage. Right?
Yeah, because you cheated because you wanted more head. You have no self-control.
No, but he's saying you're saying lack of, but you're saying lack of after the fact when the real reason is that you were selfish. So if you can't go to your partner and say, I'm being selfish, I need a selfish moment and it's me, I, that's why I'm thinking it's a harder conversation to have than post cheating because you have to face yourself and say, hey, I need to do this or I want to do this. And you have to look your partner in the face before you either do that or you work with that person and you continue the relationship or try to make it work as opposed to going behind their back and lying. That's why I think it's easier to try to.
Is that what the conversation before sounds like? Because I wouldn't imagine that the conversation before sounds like, hey, I want to do this. Conversation is usually telling them what they're lacking, therefore giving them the opportunity to change or adjust whatever behaviors. And that's just what I think would be the pre-conversation, which I don't think would be the hard part.
Telling your partner what they're lacking.
Well, again,
correct.
We're having two separate conversations, but with similar outcomes. One side of the spectrum is, okay, cool, I'm cheating because there's a lack of in my relationship. The other side of the spectrum is, hey, I'm cheating because I just want to have new experiences.
Which are both selfish because you're not cheating for lack of. Either way, it's based in selfishness.
It's not based in selfishness. I think selfish is, hey, I want to experience something without you. That's more selfish. The other one is, hey, I just want more of you, but I'm not getting it for whatever the reasons may be. And usually you want more of them because you've already had it. You usually ask for something that you already had with them, right? And now that you've grown throughout this time frame, you've lost with whatever that is. You haven't had it in however long that has transpired, but that's the two different spectrums. So I do think they had the similar outcomes, but in my opinion, again, having a conversation is hard when you're like, hey, I just want new experiences. I still want to love you. I still want to be with you. I just want to go out and explore. Right? That is a difficult conversation.
Go to the library or the museum? Like, because you really wrapping it up like we
grab
just...
him by the pussy. I can't speak for a lot of people, but I do know a good percentage of men had the opportunity to, have a hall pass with their relationship and go ahead and have sex with 1, 2, whatever, however many women in a different area, different country, whatever, on a vacation, they would most likely, a good percentage would take that opportunity, right? Now, some of them, that desire builds, and it builds to a point where they can't even hold it down anymore. Some men, it's just there. It's more so a fantasy. They could live without it. So the difficult conversation is if I'm the guy that's saying, hey, look, this desire is now consuming me and I kind of need this outlet for whatever the reason may be. That's a difficult conversation. I mean,
for who though?
For whoever it is.
No, she means, go ahead, you finish.
Like for who? Because when I'm saying difficult conversations, I'm thinking it's like you have a singular issue and it's difficult for both parties. Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's definitely difficult for whoever it is.
For both sides, you think?
Of course, because I've looked at a woman and told her, like, listen, I just want to sleep with more women, but I just want to be with you. And I've had this conversation in my life before. And it shit broke her heart because for her, she was like, I'm not good enough. And I was like, well, why did you think that I would only want one person forever? Like, that's besides the point. But like to watch somebody that you care about be broken because of your desires leaves you conflicted, right? So she's hurt, obviously, because she's the recipient. I'm hurt because I'm more so of the deliverer of the bad news, the bearer of the bad news. But at the same time, this is just transparency here. And
transparency is before you do this, though.
Yeah, I'm saying before.
You didn't do it yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm saying.
Just making sure that we're clear on that.
And so that's why it's a difficult conversation for both, whether you're receiving it or not. I mean, if I was a guy, if I was in Will Smith's position, I'd be like, God damn, bro. Like, I would feel bad too, even though, like you're having sex with my son's friend. It's crazy to me, right? Like that would hurt.
I think it is a key indication that at no point you and whoever that issue was with, the other person, have had like a real opportunity to have a real conversation, because like you wouldn't be holding it in if you actually had an opportunity to have a exchange with someone about the issue. Because why are you holding it? Otherwise, you wouldn't be holding it in because you letting it out. You talking about it.
I believe that if we're together, I'm not talking about friends or, co-workers, but if we're in the actual,
not our friends.
No, I'm saying either or. Yeah. If I'm with you, seriously with you, you are my significant other, and you say crazy things to me that now have that become a difficult conversation out of anger, I'm gonna look at you as a coward. Because there should have never been this built up animosity that you were saving for this rainy day. This has been something that we should have been spoken about at some point in time. And if you genuinely cared about me, you wouldn't have used it against me. You would have tried to help me correct it instead of keeping my flaws in your back pocket to throw it in my face. So,
Rico, I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood what you were asking, but I was thinking that the anger comes from a person who has tried to have the conversation, and then they're met with defensiveness or projection, like just everything that's not the solution, or a fair exchange. Or I won't even say fair exchange, but a reasonable exchange. Yeah. And so when you're angry and then you lash out like that, and from my perception, I'm thinking it's because you have tried. You have tried to have conversations. You've tried to fix things. You've tried, and you're always met with nothing.
But I feel like for me that's different. And for me that's not really lashing out. It's called repeating yourself, right? Because you've already said these things to me.
Right.
None of it is new. So whether you yell it or spoke it or calmly told me it was never attacked. Oh, I mean, it was never new to me.
Oh no.
You might add a couple more adjectives, but I still get the basis. Now, for me, let's just say if you start saying like things like crazy things that I was like, what? You motherfucker.
No, they was.
Yeah. You came here. And I'm like, I didn't even think you would say something like that. And that's when I feel like you were coward, because it's like you either one kept things that you knew that I shared with you that was definitely like, sensitive for me, in your back pocket, and in case this situation happened, you was gonna try to attack my neck with it. Two, you never gave me the opportunity to even fix it. You just probably laugh with your friends about it, and then finally,
That's not fair.
And it's not fair, right? Because like you see it, like I seen it in movies growing up, right? Back in the day when they were still like, the first thing a girl would do when she broke up with a nigga, the first thing a girl would do when she broke up with a man in the movie is in front of everybody say that his joint was small, right? But she was rocking with him for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And it's like, well, damn.
She loved him.
Yeah, but maybe it might have been true. I'm not sure. But that's something that she should have said to him month one.
You can't change that.
But what I'm saying is she should have said something like, yo, listen, your joint kind of small, but I love you. Right? But then
What would be the point?
I'm just saying, you wait for a grand stage moment to tell me something that you've always felt about me is cowardly.
How is that not the same as you cheating on them?
What do you mean? I'm not comparing it.
Because no. Okay. Well, kind of, sort of, because they're holding something against you, but in your cheating thing, you want them,
Gotcha.
you want to cheat and then repair, as opposed to them telling you up front that your joint was small.
Well, one, I don't want them anything. Two.
Oh, sorry.
Two, my whole
mini
point.
meat.
Yeah. Two, my whole point was on that specific scenario was that it's a tougher conversation to have after the fact, prior to the fact. So, from like, what?
It's only a tougher conversation for you because of what's going on.
He lost me with that.
I was trying to literally. I'm in my mind. I'm like, what's
It was
after
a
the
tougher
fact part?
conversation for the cheater to have with the spouse after he has cheated versus him telling her what he wants to do prior to even going out and cheating. That was my point on that. I'm not saying you should do. I'm a firm believer in telling, like, yo, listen, I wanted to do this. This is what I want to do. I'm a firm believer in, and I tell people, I give you warnings.
Why do you think that people are generally not good at that?
When were you taught to do it? You were taught to raise your hand before you speak. You were taught to be polite to people. You were taught to not tell people something crazy. Short story, there was a woman seemed to be a very nice woman. I was out, Violet was on her bike, and she's like, oh, hi. And Violet said, your teeth are dirty. She did have yellow teeth. And I said to Violet, I was like, stop it. You can't say that. And you know what the lady said? She says, no, don't stop her.
The dirty teeth lady?
Yeah. She said, don't stop her from being honest. And I was like, well, damn, go brush him. But
then my baby wouldn't have to be in this situation.
No, that wasn't going to
I
help.
didn't say that. But needless to say,
In my mind.
needless to say,
In my mind.
I caught
Somebody got
myself
that.
already
You did?
silencing my daughter saying the harsh truth in the moment at 4 years old. So what I'm saying is, when were we
It's
taught
because
to
you're embarrassed.
Nah, it's because her teeth was really wild. I'm like, I don't want her to feel bad.
Well, but the thing is that she's not
Yeah.
speaking she's speaking objectively. Like, were her teeth dirty?
Yes.
Right. So that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
they weren't dirty. They were yellow. They weren't like rotty, but they were yellow.
But you were embarrassed. Violet wasn't embarrassed.
I wasn't embarrassed. I felt bad because I'm like,
Why you feel bad
Mm.
for her speaking something that is clearly
I didn't feel bad
observable,
for my daughter. I feel bad. for the
immutable
lady.
trait?
You don't know. She might not be able to afford toothpaste. I have zero clue.
Perhaps, but I'm sorry. I think if you know you can't afford toothpaste, you know you have dirty teeth.
Well-
So that's what I'm saying. I think you were embarrassed. Violet wasn't embarrassed. She's like, you know what?
You're just being a
The
kid.
same way I would say, the same way Violet would come here and say, oh, you have a gray shirt. Oh, you have yellow hair. Oh, you have brown or black pants. Oh, daddy has an orange hat. Like, I
She
think
would
it's the
also
same
say
thing.
he's grandpa. Okay.
I'm like,
Y'all, he just can't help
I
himself.
was like, we gave a fact about Rome already.
I really be minding my business. I don't even mess.
No, that was
I don't even. How do I bring us back?
no, but so what I was saying
He's
in
gone.
agreement though is the fact that when were we taught that? You get what I'm saying? So my daughter's young. So now I have to make sure I don't program her the same way that I and other people, millions of other people, were programmed to not speak the harsh truth in that moment. You know, like my mom always told me, like when I was a young kid, I didn't want to speak to people. Like,
Why so?
her friends, I used to be like, their friends are weird to me. Like I don't like, but I don't want to be rude to them at the same time. Be like, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, but also it's not a bad thing to teach your kids that she can't say those things to people,
Yeah,
even
that's
if
a line of respect and disrespect. That's what I think.
And I get it, but the problem is sometimes that line gets blurred because the person who's on the receiving end can look at it in either which way, right? And you don't know how somebody's going to take it. So that's why it's like it's a very subjective and fine line between somebody saying, okay, she's just being honest, my teeth are yellow, versus like, yo, your little daughter's a disrespectful ass kid, and now it's a bigger issue. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird, but and again, we were never taught that, so
I agree.
and because we weren't taught that, and even myself, I caught myself trying to stop my daughter, and then the lady had to stop me. I just be like, thank you for checking me, like, I appreciate that. But a lot of people are not going to be that understanding. If you go out to Los Angeles, it's not going to happen. If Violet said a woman's teeth are dirty, that's going to be all hell broken loose.
What's she gonna do? Put her hands on Violet?
No, she's not gonna
That's
do
what I'm
that.
saying.
They
So,
do they
like-
do other weird catty shit. It's like I have like no time to describe it, but it's still something that can be perceived as disrespect, and that's the problem because we're not able to receive feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, right? And since we can't receive feedback, we can't even give feedback, and that's
needs to
the
be in
issue.
Germany
Yeah,
or Jamaica.
Russia.
You're fat.
They love that.
Oh shit! You know
Like-
how direct my girlfriend is.
Like
I'd be
the
why you say it
Caribbeans,
that?
Africans, like boy, why are you why do you feel disrespected when someone points out a fact? A fact is not a feeling. A fact is supported by what is exactly in front of you. Baby, you see your teeth, I see your teeth. They're dirty.